I'm thrilled to have Maureen with us here today to take us through some amazing tips on making presentations and go-to-market strategies in Canva. So a very warm welcome to you, Maureen, and over to you.
Thank you so much, Jess, and a big hi and a big thank you to everybody for joining us from literally all corners of the world. This is very exciting. So today I am super happy to be with you and to share all of not all, because there's more, but definitely some very key, cool tips that you can use in Canva Pro to create, collaborate, and present really great marketing presentations that pop. So I'm just going to give you a little bit of an intro about me. My name is Marine, probably very hard to pronounce for a lot of you. I'm a senior product marketing manager and a very new addition to the Canva team. So I've been at Canva now 3 months and I've been really loving the ride. I'm working on very exciting product areas around team and collaboration, and you'll get to see some of that. I'm sure you can also tell, adding to the international flavor of the day, I am French. Hopefully you can understand my accent. I will try to speak as clearly as I possibly can. In this workshop, we're going to focus on some of the pro features. So Canva has a free offering, which is packed with a lot of goodness and fantastic things for you to get started designing about anything. And Canva Pro is our paid offer, and it has even more premium tools and content that you can tap into to really make your designs amazing. But Canva is more than just a product. We're a company that has a very ambitious mission, and that is to empower the world to design. And we're doing okay so far. So we have over 50 million monthly active users. We're doubling in size every year, and we're in every country and in over 100 languages. But as our wonderful founder, Melanie Perkins, says, we're only 1% of the way there. And there's so much more we want to be doing to really empower everybody to design and achieve their goals through design. So let's move on to what we're going to be talking in this session today. So we're going to start off with showing you how to create marketing presentations, starting inspired and designing like a pro using pro features. Then we'll move on to working with your colleagues or with your team simultaneously from anywhere in the world. And we'll finish off with some tips on how to present like a pro, whether it be live or recorded, and really truly engage your audience. Did you know that a quarter of the global population, that is huge, that's 2 billion people, are presentation users, and they use it mainly for business? I think that really highlights just how important that is. And I'm sure this one, you know, that visual connection is now a priority, which means that presenting remotely is becoming as important as presenting in real life. And this is an example today. We're all in different areas of the world listening to this presentation. Another thing which I definitely agree with is that presentations are the original form of visual communication in the workplace. And that very much ties in with your answers when we were asking you how often you are using presentations in your work. So I'll just play you a little video now.
Enjoy presentations with Canva.
So let's dive in and start with part 1, designing like a pro. So as I was saying before, presenting is a bit of a balancing act. It's pretty much, I'd say, an art form, really. It requires preparation and practice, but really with some careful planning and some cool design tricks, which you're going to walk away with, you can really win the attention of your audience in seconds. So I'd like to ask you guys, what in your mind makes a great presentation? If you could send your answers into the Zoom chat, that would be amazing. Jess, what do you think? What makes a a really good presentation?
Yeah, I think being concise and having really visual slides is really important. Nobody wants to watch somebody just read word for word off their slides, do they, basically?
Very true. Jess, you've summarized it beautifully. So it really requires two types of thinking, and that's a very unique challenge. You want to make it short and sweet, which is what you've been talking about, having less words, being very concise, being on point. So developing, that quality content that really has a clear direction, that's well summarized, that's in easy to digest way, but also you want to make it very visual. And that requires two different types of skill, and that's what makes it challenging a lot of the time, to create a visual aid that really supports that message, that story you want to tell during the presentation. And obviously, last but not least, you want it to feel like you. So you want to add a bit of yourself, a bit of your personality as well. And so let's talk a little bit about how we can set you up for success, because that's the real key with something as important as a presentation. It's like just with any big goal or strategy you want to be carrying through. Foundations and preparation are very important. That's the most important phase, really, to ensure you've got everything you need and you're set up to create a really great presentation. So the tips that we've got is to start off with your content. Look at your content, be very clear on what you might want to talk about, even craft a little bit of an outline, and do so that you can then split it into easy to digest information. So choose what content is going to go onto each slide and segment it in little pieces. And then the second piece is, how do you make it really visual? How do you make it pop? How do you make it tell your story through visual content and make it look really professional? How do you make those data look interesting? And we're going to dive into that just now. So the first thing for me is to not start looking at a blank page, because I often find that very daunting when I work on a presentation the first time and I open that blank page. I'm like, where do I start? What do I do? And Canva Pro really helps with this. We've got more than 9,000 professionally designed templates. We keep updating them. We keep adding more, and they really help you get started with some, inspiration, with something to get you going. But they're also super customizable. So you can add, change them, bend them any way you like to really suit your need and tell your story. And whether you're designing, a conference keynote, whether you're working on your marketing strategy that you want to present to your team, or your social media plan, you're launching a new product and you want to create a launch plan or a product pitch, whether you're building that campaign report that your colleague has been asking for after that really successful campaign, you can find a template and customize it in Canva. And really, there are lots and lots of templates to suit any project. So we're going to have a look at that in a little while. But first, I'm going to present some of the tips that I'm also going to go through to help you design powerful and engaging presentation slides faster. So there's 5 of them. We're going to go through each of them, and then I'm going to show you how it's done in Canva. So if you want to follow that with me later on, it would be great for you to jump in Canva. But first, I will show you here. So I don't know about you, but I really love little tricks that help me save time. And when I discovered that Canva had some shortcuts, I was really, really happy. So, and I now use them all the time. So there's a few of them. There's the classic one to copy and paste content. When you hit Command C, you copy content. Command V to paste an element or a piece of text. And so we might know that. Command A or Control A to select all of the elements on one slide. That's really cool. But the ones that I use the most are the letters that are here. So if you hit the key C on Canva on a slide and you have nothing selected, it's going to draw a circle from you. And then you can resize it and change color and do whatever you want to do with it. If you hit T, that just creates a text box. So you don't have to do a bunch of clicks to find where that text box is. You just hit a key and it's there. Same for rectangle. There's the letter R. And if you want to draw a line, it's L. So I think those are really great, and I use them all the time. Another thing that's really, really great, and I think that's going to tie in with a lot of comments we had in the chat, is how to customize your slide, how to make them look really beautiful, how to help tell your story with visuals, if you don't have those visuals, if you don't have those really great photos, or if you have to maybe get another subscription to a stock photo library, well, you don't need that. In Canva Pro, you've got 100 million images, audio files that are very high quality, professionally taken, videos, animation, GIFs, all of that at your fingertips, so that you never need to search on stock website again, and you can really add that professional touch to all your presentations. Another one, which I love, and I am interested in hearing from any of you who have tried it, is background remover. So if you've tried background remover, would love to just get a little note in the chat, say, yes, I've tried. But to me, it's a really, really cool feature. So it's all about creating a focal point in your design by removing the background of any photo or any image. It's great for highlighting products. It's great for creating a headshot, or you can even create different layers in a design. So it's really cool. So we'll have a look at that as well. And another one, which I only discovered recently and is very, very awesome, is the integrations that Canva has with other apps. You can design using your favorite media in Canva by using one of these integrations. So you can, for instance, add photos from your Instagram account, or from Facebook, or from Google Drive or Dropbox, or whatever you might use. You can insert some cool emojis. If you want, you can also get some videos straight from YouTube into your slides or into your designs. You might be able to add a Google map if that's relevant, or a GIF, or even a QR code. So we'll show you some of those things. There's also some apps here in the middle that help you add some cool effects to your images. So adding some shadows, we're going to look into smart mockups. You can add frames, you can put some interesting coloring, and you can also use Canva to post directly to your favorite social media platform from the platform without needing to leave Canva in one click. And that's, with the integration to all of these documents and more, all of these platforms, sorry. And the fifth tip is how to make it pop with premium animation. So in Canva Pro, there's about 14 animation styles that you can add to different parts of your design to really make it pop. So you can make your visual bounce or slide or fade, or look like typewriting, and this is really cool when you talk about presenting. So let's now take a look together. So I'm going to open Canva, and we're going to create something all from scratch. So as I said, I don't love the blank page, but I'm going to start by creating a blank presentation. So you can do that from here at the top, or here using one of those slides, or you can even search what you want to type. So I'm just creating a presentation, and what I want to do is browse through the templates. So see how you've got a lot of templates here. You can choose from company presentations, professional presentation, brand guidelines, even creative. So we know we want to do something which is a marketing presentation. So for this exercise today, I'm going to pretend I work in a really great surf brand, and I want to launch an app to help people who love to surf, find everything they need about the surf conditions on a given day, even get some, live cam views. I want them to be able to connect with fellow surfers. I want them to do a bunch of different things, know about, relevant events and so on. And so I'm going to build a bit of a marketing plan to convince my manager that this is a really great idea, and explain how I would go about launching this cool app. So I'm just browsing through those presentations, and see, when you look at them and you put your mouse over, you can see how many slides they have, and you can see them move. So you can get a bit of a feel of whether or not you like, and you can start as a base with those or not. So I quite like this one, so I might just click on it. So when you click on a template that you like, then you get to see all of the pages. You can either apply all of the pages and then add your own, customize, or you can just select a handful that you find relevant. So we might just start like that. So I'm going to create a title one. I'm going to change, no, I don't need to change the title, but I'm just going to change the date. It's 2021, and I am probably going to start with adding an image that's more relevant. So it's all about surfing for us. So I'm just going to go into elements on the left, and I'm going to type surf. And then I'm given a bunch of options. So I think here I'd like to have photos. That's more going with the aesthetic that I'm going after here. And I can browse through some of these photos. Oh, this is a funny one. So you can see some of them are available to everybody, and some of them see free. Some of them are available to people on Canva Pro. I'm really trying to appeal to pro surfers. So I'm going to not take a funny one with a dog, but one with someone who really knows what they're doing. So I've just clicked on the photo, and I'm just going to resize it and make it look exactly how I want. So here you are. And I don't think I love the pink. I mean, it's nice, but not necessarily my brand color. So I'll touch about that a bit later, but in Canva, you can also set up your brand colors for anyone who's going to work with you or anyone that's going to work in your team, so that they don't need to type the hex code, you know, as it's suggested here, to find that exact shade of pink or blue or purple that goes with your logo. You don't need to go stumbling everywhere and download your logo from a library and then upload it into Canva and then put it into your slide. You can have all of that loaded and see I click here on logo, and I get all of my logo that I'm allowed to use. And you also get the fonts that you're able to use. So I'm just going back to the color that I wanted to say, and I'm just going to pretend I don't work with Canva for a minute. I work with a surf brand, and we're all about blue. So I'm going to put that, and my fonts, I'm going to go here. And again, if you had some brand fonts, they would be under here. So that means you don't have to second guess, you don't have to search, they're all here. But in here, I'm just going to do something a bit different. I'm going to, I don't know, suggestion funky. And I'm going to pick maybe, what do you think, Jess? Anyone that you find particularly fun?
Yeah, so many good ones.
That's very groovy.
Kind of 60s.
Yeah, I know. So here we go. We've added a photo. We've customized a little bit our page. Now let's go back to that template. So my template is here. I'm actually going to add a couple more. So I'm going to need an agenda. I'm going to need a competitive analysis. I'm going to need an agenda, and I'm going to add a slide for the market. And I'm going to have a bit of an overview and a bit of a timeline and something for my event. Okay, so here, as we can see, the colors are not the right ones. I just wanted to show you a little trick as well. So here I select this here, and I want to go back to my blue, which is this one. If you notice down the bottom here, you can get Canva to change all of the instances of this shade of light green to blue. And it's doing it automatically to all of my slides without me having to worry. This one here, again, I probably don't want this pink. So I'm also going to change it to another nice little color, maybe that one. And again, I'm going to get to change it all everywhere in my document. This document doesn't really suit my style, so I'm going to add an image that's a bit more surfy that I'm going to replace this one from. So actually, see how it's not quite the size I want. So what I could do is just resize it and make it like that. Or if you just want things to fit perfectly in the space that you've got, you can click on frame or search frame, sorry, and you can select one of these. I'm just going to take this one because it's pretty cool. So I'm just going to move my image. I'm going to remove this one that we don't need. I'm just going to resize that. It's maybe a little bit big. So I'm going to leave it like that. So see how here you've got a sort of fake photo. If you drag whatever image that you've got onto that, it's going to fit perfectly the space. So again, I'll just show you another example. You could do the same here with a headshot. So I'm just going to click that one. And if you drag it here, it automatically crops it to whatever shape that you've got. And you can go really, really creative with those. With the frames, I didn't search in the right place here. Like you can put things into a screen. You can make things appear as letters, as numbers. You can do a whole heap of things that are really quite creative. So I'm just going to remove this one because it's not relevant. I'm going to go back to my font. Hopla. Okay, so next, let's have a look. So I think somebody asked about adding videos. So I think that would be really good as an intro. I've got a really great product video that shows some surfers, and then they talk about my app. I could go into my uploads, but actually I don't have a really great video, so I'm just going to use one of the Canva videos that are available. So I've type surfer, I find all of those really high quality stock videos. I'm just going to pick one that looks great, maybe this one. So I've just clicked on it. It's going into my page. I can easily resize it. And if I want, I can even overlay some text. So maybe I can just click on that because it looks really nice. And I'm just going to say, let's surf. So we've got our first couple of slides. Now, let's take a look at our competitor analysis. So this is company, we want competitor. So I've discovered, I mentioned to you before, some really cool apps. So if you click on more down the bottom of the left side panel, you can see all of the apps and integration that you can use with Canva. And so there's one that's called Brand Fetch, and it's really cool for marketers because it basically allows you to type a website URL. So I think some of my competitor might be Recurl. And without having to go to Google, type Recurl logo, finding one that's good quality, downloading it, then uploading it to Canva and adding it to the slide, I just did this and I'm shown a logo, which is exactly what I'm after. So I'm just going to put it on the page here, and I'm going to look for maybe Billabong. So that's a big time savior, this one, and I was very excited to find it. So you can do that, and you can do Quicksilver. So saving a few steps, which is always great. Hopla. So then you can put it on the page, and then you can write underneath whatever key things, they're doing really great with the apps around surfing, which I'm sure they have some really great ones. Now somebody talked about adding data. So again, we might be interested in visually representing some interesting data, especially in a marketing strategy like this. We might want to sort of explain to people what the market is like. So for instance, we can talk a little bit about our target market, which is, pretty much everyone and who is interested in surfing. So we're going to type in the element search bar chart, and then we're given a few options. So I want to show how many percentage of the population is actually interested in surfing. So I'm going to take these little guys here, and I'm going to put them in there. I'm going to remove that one for now. Just remind me, was it like about 10% of people have an interest in water sports?
Yeah, 10%. I think 1 in 10.
Great. So I'll double click on the chart, and here I'm given options. So if I wanted to do something completely different, like showing babies, for instance, or showing, people who grow corn or people who like camping, I could, but that's not the point today. So total number of items, 10, and the amount of them is 1 in 10. So I put 1, and it's going to color just one little guy. And to make it really pop, I'm going to change the color so you can see maybe that one is better. And those little guys, I might put them in white. And then you can add some text and just say 1 in 10 people love to surf. You can, customize as you want. It's also great if you want to visualize demography, or say like there's so many persons in the world and such are in this country and that country. So you can do that very easily. Now, if we go back to our charts, I also want to be able to show a percentage of those people who are mobile users, and it's huge. I'd say it's probably about 90%. I'm going to put my percentage in here. So what I did again was I clicked on the chart, I double click on it, then I've got my my settings here, and I want to show the percentage label as well so people can really see. And you can customize about everything about the way it looks. So again, I'm going to use the same color as I've got above. And I would put a label underneath to say this is 90. So 1 in 10 love surfing, 90% are interested in, have a mobile phone. And maybe a last one, where is our population coming from? So I'm going to take a pie chart this time, maybe that one. And I'm going to put it here. And see how you've got here the ability to type things to add your data. You can also paste things from a spreadsheet. And we're going to do just that. I'm just going to scroll through the other window, which is all of my data. And I'm going to hit Command C to copy. I'm going to go back to my presentation, which is here. And here I'm going to click in that little box that says paste data, and I'm going to paste my data and see how we've got all of that added to the chart. And this one we don't want. And again, you may customize the colors if you like. You may customize the text of the little headings and so on. So we've spoken about some of the content that you can access in Canva. We showed using of the frames. I wanted to show you another one as well, which is pretty cool, which is an integration. So again, I go down the very bottom in the more section, and I am going to show you how to add a Google Maps, because we're actually going to do a launch event for this app, and it's going to be run at the Narrabeen Surf Club in Australia. I'm just typing it here. It's getting me a few options. North Narrabeen, it's actually going to be at the South Narrabeen Life-Saving Club. So I've just clicked on it, and then you can embed a Google Map into your deck. So that's really cool. The other thing you might like to do is, I'm just going to insert text. I'm just going to type cool surf launch event.com. Generate a code for that URL and pop it on the screen. And here you are. So that's some of the really nice apps that you can get. One last one I wanted to show you is the smart mockup. So I want to show people what my app will look like. Again, I might go into my uploads and select a screenshot. I don't have a proper screenshot here. I might have something interesting. I don't know. I'll just add this one. And going back here, if you add a screenshot of an app onto your page, and then you want to add some effects and put it inside the screen, you can click on effects on the top here, at the top, sorry, and click in smart mockups and select the one you like. So you might like to have your screenshot into a tablet or computer. So I'm just going to select this one. And this one is particularly good because it's tilted and it's slightly thin. Like when it's a straight one, it's probably easier to do it yourself. But with one like this, it's going to do it all for you. And so you can see your screenshot in action inside the computer. You have to do nothing at all. It's all done. So that's another really cool thing that you can do to showcase your products. I realized one thing that I said I was going to show you and I haven't yet is background remover. So let's go and take a look here. So I've got a few people there. They're not really surfy people, but that's okay. I'm just going to click on this guy and click on, and he's actually got no background already. So I'm going to click on that lovely lady here. And I click on effect, and at the top, you get the background remover feature. I click on it and it's doing its magic in the background, which normally would take me forever in another application and it would never do a really great job. I don't know if you've ever had to do that, Jess, but that's an absolute nightmare. And look at her. She looks beautiful and she doesn't have that background anymore. And that took what, 2 seconds? So that's a really great one. So I've shown you templates, unlimited content, some really cool apps that you can use to supercharge your slide. We've looked at the background remover. The last thing I haven't spoken about, but I did say we would, is to use animation. So I'm just going to go back to my first slide and I'm going to select maybe that picture here. And I'm going to click on animate at the top here. So you've got two options. You can animate your whole page, all of these different slides, make the photo zoom, or do a bit of a drift effect, or make things pop like this. Or I might just decide, hey, I actually just want my title to be animated. So, and I want it to be like typed like this. Mm-hmm. So that's cool. Or I might just run an animation for this photo here and make it tumble. you can, really have a play and do a lot of different things. So next up, we're going to be looking into collaboration. So I'm not sure whether or not you are aware, but Canva is actually a collaborative design tool, and that really helps you take your presentation or anything you might design to the next level by getting the help of your team. So what can you do with real-time collaboration in Canva? You can work on presentation simultaneously with colleagues from anywhere in the world. So I've been doing some projects with my mom who's based in France, and we've been literally playing together in Canva at the same time, even though she's in a very completely different time zone. You can also share designs with everybody just so that they can review and view them. So these are the few things that you can do. You can invite someone to a design via a link or just sending them an email. You can edit together. That's what I was talking about. And you can do that from any device, whether you're on your phone or whether you're on your tablet or your laptop or your computer. And also you can add comments to different areas of your design. You can tag people so that they know you're asking for them to reply or do something. You can resolve feedback. You can do all of that in real time. So some really good use cases for these things are when you're brainstorming with a team at the start of a project and you're like, for instance, or soft app, you might be working with a few people and putting some sticky note ideas to what do we need to cover in this presentation, or which competitor should we speak about, what should be our event plan. You can do workshops, you can co-create, co-edit things, you can seek feedback, and you can get approval all in Canva without having to do back and forth, downloading the asset, the presentation, sending it via email, which presentations are typically very heavy, emails as well, getting it back, not knowing if you're on the last version. So this simplifies all of this, which is pretty cool. We mentioned also keeping everybody on brand before with the brand kit. Working as a team brings its challenges, and definitely having that is a big thing. So the kind of things we've been hearing from our community, and especially that might not apply to you if you're working solo, but definitely when you work as a team, keeping your brand identity is very important. And we hear a lot of people have, we're getting some good things in the chat. Jess, can you tell us what they're saying?
So Dion's lack of consistency in font and color families. So you want to be getting exactly the right font and color every time. As an agency, we are always presenting to other companies about their brand. So there is always debate about whether the branding of the presentation should be on our brand or on their brand. That's an interesting point.
Yeah, I've seen both done actually.
John says, I already collaborate with Canva with my graphic design brand designer, and it works great. So that's exactly the kind of use case that we're talking about, where you're sharing those assets together.
But so what Brand Kit does, it helps solve those problems that we've seen that you in the chat have been sharing, and also our community is telling us about. It helps you and your team create a bit of a digital and usable way to use your style guide. So that's what I showed you before. So you can turn your style guide from something static like this, which should be a PDF, into something more usable, like what I showed you before, where you've got a brand kit, you've got your logo, you've got the colors that you might want to use, you've got the exact font. And if you need to keep people within a framework and some guardrails, you can do that, and they don't have to second guess the exact shade of color or the expressive palette that they're allowed to use, which is really, really great. So let's have a quick play together now with some of those things of collaboration. So I'm going to show you how to invite somebody. So I'm going to invite Jess. So Jess is in my team, so I can either type her name here, which I will do, or I could, and I'm going to find her straight away here, and I can toggle whether I want her to be able to edit my presentation or view my presentation. I can type a little message. She's going to get an email now, so I'm just doing that. Just let me know, jump in as soon as you get this. But I can also copy a link here, and again, decide whether that link gives people view access or edit access to the presentation. And I can see Jess has joined me because she's up here. Awesome. Nice to see you, Jess. So I actually didn't tag Jess just yet, but let me do that just now. You remember how I didn't have time to change the photos of the team? I'm going to say @Jess, popping up. We've got a lot of Jess here. @Jess, assigned to Jess. Can you please add with the photos of the team. And I'm going to hit comment, and Jess, she's going to work her magic, and then she can reply, and she can, post any other comments or do other things. And we can see, like, we're staying on the same slide, so we can see her initials here. So she's actually currently playing with the pictures here. Change his name, and it's actually Bob, the director. Cool. And Alison, and oh, thanks. So Jess has replied, and Jess, she can even click, she can also click on resolve because she's done, and we don't have that comment anymore. So that's the kind of thing you can do. You can also ask for approval. You can, collaborate with. It's particularly great to mention people when there's more than one person working with you, so that everybody knows exactly where they're at, and then you can you tag me in the comment, just so I can show something? Then you can really keep track of what you need to do. And then when you open Canva in your homepage, then you get some notifications as well. So you can get it by email, but you can also get it in Canva, and it tells you need to action this feedback. Oh, thank you. Yes. So voila. Was there any question on this?
I do have a quick question from Hosen, who says, how does it work when the person you're collaborating with doesn't have Pro? So do they still get access to the Pro features? I don't think they do they?
No, I don't think they do. But if you're in a team, it's different. So you can collaborate without being in a team with somebody, or you can create a team, invite people, and then they get the same access as you. And then they can play with the different features that you have access to.
Yeah, I think so. If you add them to your team, then it's a different thing. But if it's just someone who's not on your team, who just has their own Canva account and they're not on Pro, then they'll just have their own free features.
Whatever access they have with, but they could even collaborate without signing in, by the way, which is really great, because sometimes you want to invite somebody, they've never used Canva, and you don't want that to get in the way.
Exactly. One last quick one. Is there a possibility we can track changes by everyone who collaborated in that specific project? I know that there is version history, isn't there?
There is a version history. So I can show you that. If you click on your file here, and you can click on version history, obviously it's a very new file, so there's not a whole heap that's happened, but you could see all of the different versions and who's done what. And you can click on whatever version you want to restore, or you can just view that version. See how you've got a preview here? So you can see what's different. Again, all of those features are getting improved and built out all the time. And I know there's a whole lot of very exciting things happening especially in the team and collaboration space in the coming months. So you'll definitely hear more about those capabilities. And again, if you've got suggestions, we definitely want to hear that to make sure we bake it into the product.
Yeah, fantastic. Okay, we'll move on for the moment.
Yes, so to the final part of this workshop. So we're now going to show you some of the ways you can make that presentation that you've built enjoyable, with some interactivity, some little surprises for your audience, how you can present different ways to do that. Once you've created a fantastic presentation, it's really important to engage your audience, to really communicate your message clearly. But how do you do that? How do you bring your ideas to life? How do you make an impact? We're going to show you a few different ways to do that. So your presentation might not be presented with somebody speaking over it. You might just want to share a link to it. That can be really great if you want someone to review it on the go, or if you want to work with a co-presenter and you want them to get acquainted with the content before the big presentation. So we've showed you that before, how to share it as a link, or you can either save it as a PDF for a handout. So you can do a bunch of things like this. If you're not able to give a talk at a certain time, you can record your presentation. Or if you're a bit shy in public and you don't love public speaking, you can record yourself talking through your presentation, record a really perfect take, and just share it, and it can be watched endlessly. And someone was talking, I think that was Dion, but you spoke about seeing your presenter notes, and you can do that with Canva with the presenter view, but there's also a few other modes that will show you that you can use when you're presenting a presentation. Now, I'm also going to share a few tips here, because there's ways you can make your presentation even more fun, even more delightful, and add a bit of interaction as well. So we spoke about shortcuts before, but there's some shortcuts when you're creating, presenting. When you're in the Canva editor, that's the one we spoke about before. But there's also some that are called the magic shortcuts, and they bring that little bit of magic to your presentation whilst you're in presentation mode. So let's have a look at them. You've got B, which is blur. So that blurs the content on your slide. If you hit C, because it's a particularly, happy, celebratory slide, you can throw some confetti in the air. If you want to build up some anticipation, build up a drum roll by hitting D. We can have some floating bubbles. I don't quite know, if you're like in a bit of a funny mood. If you got particularly loud audience, you can tell them to be quiet by hitting the Q, and the timer that I showed you before. So that's once you're presenting, if you hit any number between 1 and 9, that's going to start a timer. So I'm just going to do 1, and that's going to put it on the screen, which is really great when you're doing activities, when you're brainstorming, when you're doing a Q&A, and you want to make sure it stays within that sort of time frame. Yes, as the question, Sanam, what do you click to have these magic shortcuts? On your keyboard, you click any of the keys that are on the screen, and you get those effects. But you have to be in presentation mode. It doesn't have to be presenter mode. Any way you like to present: standard presentation, autoplay, which we're going to cover later, or presenter view. But yeah, you can't be in the editor. You need to be presenting. You can also add a bit of interaction to your presentation experience using Canva Live. So Canva Live is a way for you to interact a bit like we're doing in Zoom and crowdsource questions and comments from your audience, get people to react. So we're going to try it out in a second. So I spoke about the sharing modes before. So I showed you how to share with Jessica. You can also click on present. And when you do that, you get all of the different modes. So you can do a standard presentation where you basically click on every slide and advance at your own pace. You can click on autoplay. So if I click on autoplay, I basically ask for a bit of a slideshow, and I can say I want you to play each slide for 8 seconds. So this is particularly good when you're, for instance, as an event. So I've done this in the past. You made a presentation and you want to turn it into a bit of a video, and you put it on the screen at an event that's telling your story, and you want it to rotate constantly. You might be using it like that. I find when you're speaking, it can be quite hard to time, but there's definitely great use cases for this. Or you can use the presenter view, where you can view the notes. And I need to show you how to add notes first. So down the bottom here, you've got a little note bar, and you can type thing, welcome to market strategy. This is the agenda, and check out this video. Now, if we go back to present and we get the presenter view, Canva opens 2 windows. So you've got your audience window, which is what you guys are looking at now. I'm just going to put it to the side because I want to show you the presenter window instead. And it tells you, so you don't make any mistake, you know exactly where the presenter window is, where the audience window is, and you say, got it. So here's what it looks like. So down the bottom, you see the next slides that are coming up. On the right, you'll see your notes. You even have a timer. You can type things here. And so you can just move along, and you've got your animation that you worked on, but you've also got your notes here, which makes it really easy for you to, deliver very confidently and not lose any of the points that you want, while still keeping your presentation, very short and sweet and not with too many words. I said we were going to talk about Canva Live because that's a really great way to add a bit of interactivity to the session. So you click on Canva Live on the right, and it's creating a session. So we've got a code here, and if you wanted to jump into canva.live, so type canva.live on your browser. So in the audience window, that's what it says. It says to everybody, visit canva.live and enter the code 052630. And I'm going to do it myself. And Jess, if you want to do it, that's also great to have you. But yeah, the more people are happy to join, the better. So we can show you how it works. And then you can enter your name or not, if you want to be anonymous, and you can type questions, or you can send reaction. I've seen some heart shapes floating up and some loves. That's great. I'm just going to type a little comment. And in the presenter view, so in the audience view, you see all of those reactions, which is great. In the presenter view, you get to see all of the comments that you get. Thanks, guys. So you can also add that additional layer of interaction. So that's one thing I wanted to show you. Now, last thing I wanted to show you, I spoke about recording a presentation. So again, at the top, you've got the present button here, and you've got the three dot. If you click on there, you've got present and record. We're going to do that. And it's telling you to go to your recording studio. It's going to test out my sound and my background. So hello, you can see me, so I'm looking slightly to the different. I've got two screens for you to see, so I'm looking a bit away, but that's all right. Let's start recording. 3, 2, 1. So hi, everybody. We're going to go through our marketing strategy for that awesome surf app. This is the agenda for today, and check out that awesome video. Now, I actually want to pause because I'm not too sure what I'm talking about next. I want this to be a really great text. So I've paused and now I resume. I'm ready to play again. And after this video, we're going to check out some of our competitors. And recording, it's uploading it all as a video. So you need to keep it open while it's working its magic. Yay! So it's giving me a link. You can save and exit, or you can discard if you want to take another take because you're not too happy about what you've done. So I'm just going to paste the link here, but I can share that link with anybody I want. And then here you have me. So hi everybody, we're going to go through our marketing strategy for that awesome surf app. This is the agenda for today. And that's where I realized just how French I sound when I speak. And you know, when I speak, I don't. But when I hear myself, I do. I'm sorry. I hope you find it okay to understand me. Anyway, so this shows you that you can pre-record a presentation, and even if you can't make the time, or even if you don't want to be presenting in public, or for any reason, you can share that with anybody and really get your point across very easily. So I very much love that, and I've been using it quite a bit myself. So this is what we've covered today. Hopefully you've learned some things. I know some of you knew some of the tips I've shared. There's obviously some things you've been interacting with, like and telling us that it was cool in the chat, which was really great to hear, and the shortcuts and the different presenting modes. I hope you also learned some things around the apps in the designing like a pro. So really great spending the time, your morning, your evening, your night, whatever time zone you're in with you. I hope you enjoyed the workshop, and thank you so much for joining me today, and back to you.
Oh, such a pleasure. Thank you, Maureen. See you at the next one.
Bye.
Bye-bye.